guys, how you doing? I'm Brett Pike, and it's time to talk homeschool. And today we're going to talk about 5 different methods of homeschooling that all parents should be familiar with. In fact, before you choose a curriculum, when you first get into homeschool, the first thing you should do is familiarize yourself with these different philosophies of how to home educate a child. Because what a lot of families do is jump right into a curriculum. They feel overwhelmed, it's not working, they're frustrated, their children don't like it, and before you know it, they develop an aversive relationship with homeschooling. Well, that could be avoided by first studying the different methods that people use and figuring out what works for you, your family, and your child. The first method is classical education, which breaks learning down into 3 separate phases of grammar, logic, and rhetoric. The grammar phase is up to grade 4. The logic phase is grade 4, 5 through middle school, and the rhetoric phase is high school. I'll make another video in which I get very in-depth about each one of those phases, but essentially it gets down to, in early childhood, we want children to understand that words have meaning and to have a command of the English language. In middle school, we want to develop the skill of being logical, basic ABC logic. And in high school, we want to develop the skill of communicating what you know and persuading others to adopt your worldview, which is a very powerful skill. The next homeschool style that all parents should be aware of is Montessori, which basically sets up a child's environment so that you can teach the child by following what they already want to do, learn through play. They can learn math with blocks. They can have a music station, an art station. When you're sitting at the counter and you're cooking food, you have a stool that the child could stand on and special knives so they could cut the food without cutting their hand, and they could learn through everyday activities and learn through play. The third style, and this is one of my favorites specifically because my son loves stories, is Charlotte Mason, of course put together by the legendary Charlotte Mason herself. She was a woman, and she developed a system of educating children around stories. These living stories, living history, living math, in which children are put into the shoes of historical figures and they read the stories as if they're there. And although some of the stories might be fictional, they're all based in facts. And if you have a child like mine who really enjoys stories, this is a great way to learn. In fact, even with mathematics, there is a book series called The Life of Fred that every single family I have worked with, and I have recommended this book to, has come back to me later and said, thank you, we absolutely love the Life of Fred math books. And that's learning math through these Charlotte Mason style stories. The other part of a Charlotte Mason education is to make chores an integral part of your daily life. So your child might wake up, feed the dog, help mom with the laundry, whatever it might be, but teaching your children that life comes with responsibilities is a very important part of the Charlotte Mason educational philosophy. The next system, and this is one of my favorites, and I know I said that about the last one, but honestly, I feel that way about everything we're discussing today because these really are wonderfully put together homeschool philosophies, and if you understand them, you can use any one of them to educate your children. But the next one is unschooling. The idea that we can do the crazy thing of following the interest of our children, letting them study what they want to learn about, and then using that natural motivation to embed what we want them to learn. So, for example, if your child is obsessed with bugs, you can teach them science with bugs. You could teach them to read with bugs. You can teach them to write about bugs. You follow the interest of your children. You embed what you want them to learn, and then you use that interest to develop real skills for the real world and eventually to get them entrepreneurial experience. Think of a child who is interested in photography. Well, the next step would be to challenge them to start a seasonal photography business. There are so many amazing things you can do with unschooling. And last but not least, and this is my favorite of all the different homeschool philosophies, is when you take classical education, you take Charlotte Mason, you take Montessori, you take unschooling, and you put them together in one Frankenstein monster of homeschool education. I myself am an eclectic educator, meaning I take the best that classical education has to offer, the best that Charlotte Mason has to offer, the best that Montessori has to offer, the best that unschooling has to offer, and I use them all in my homeschool. And when I put together my homeschool company and started building out original homeschool curriculum, I take a little bit from all of these different philosophies, because I do believe in grammar, logic, and rhetoric, that your children should understand that words have meaning and be masters of the English language, that they should be logical, that they should be great communicators. But I also want them to follow their interest and to learn through play, especially in early childhood. I want them to be able to follow their interest and start a photography business or whatever it is they want to do with their life. And I want my son to be able to read the most elaborate stories if that's what he's interested in. And of course, I definitely want him doing chores because I want him to be a responsible young man. But the beautiful thing is, when you understand these different homeschool philosophies, you can pick and choose which parts you like. And the truth is, there's no one right way to educate your child. The right way to educate your child is the way that works for your child's learning style and the schedule and hurdles that your family has to overcome. There's no one right way to educate a child. So learn about all of these different styles. Read the books of Maria Montessori and Charlotte Mason. Read books like The 5-Hour School Week about unschooling or The Well-Trained Mind about classical education. Take bits and pieces of all of these different systems and put them together into something that works for you and your family. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments. I'm going to go through them and make videos based on your questions. If you're interested in what I do, go to classicallearner.com, and all members of Homeschools Connected get access to all of the lesson plans, the unit studies, the courses, and the live classes I put together. The future is what we make it, so the future is bright. Thanks for being here, and I'll see you next time.